Hello, I'm Shelley Rothus, and we're back for part two, The Difference in Me. Now, this part's going to be based upon the story that I just had read, part of the story based upon when I had met Bleep, and why it is so sentimental to me, and why it caused me so much hurt in the end. Okay, so actually, yes, he does play a big part in the story because that incident did bring back to my abuse in real life. So, how is that? How does Bleep play a significant role in that as to being sentimental to me? Okay, now with the clan, there's that, head. Well, you know what? In real life, that was my mother. Now, when I had met Bleep, he was the first person that I had trusted like that, as to where I felt like I could, say anything without being judged or it ever being used against me in the end. Now, just like my father underneath my mother would turn on me whenever she would put herself in there. So when me and Bleep first met, things were great. But then he started getting close to that clan. And just like my father, he had turned more and more and really stuck underneath there and showed that self even worse. So when I had met Bleep, that's when I had come to him for advice only, based on life skills. So yeah, he taught me a lot too. But he did the unexpected, like I said. He had actually went out of his way to help support me during that. So that was very special to me. That goes back to even my father. So I was bullied when I was young, and I ended up, being sad after school and stuff like that. But you know what? The one thing that kept me going was just knowing that, when I'd be able to see my dad waiting for me at the end of the road at our street where we lived, just waiting for me when I was walking home. And I would see him. Oh boy, that sadness just turned into a smile. Oh, I still remember it like it was just yesterday. And I would just start running right to him. And that just changed my day. Now, how does that relate to Bleep? Well, Bleep, when I was going through a hard time, like I said, I was having a lot of anxiety and panic attacks due to having seizures, and I didn't realize it then. Well, he basically did the same for me. He would realize I was having a hard time, and he basically said, sit back, relax. I'm going to take care of this. Don't worry about it. I was like, okay. And I even thanked him for it. I said, I actually had a good day, and, I thanked him. I'm happy. And he's like, good, I'm glad. You know, just like my dad, after a hard day of being bullied, he would play with me and, play wrestle and stuff like that. Basically, that's what it brought me back to was, my father doing that for me. So I really appreciated what he did, That's what it meant to me, that he actually cared enough to do that without me even asking. Just like my dad, playing with me and stuff like that. That was so meaningful. So why was it so painful? Because then when he got closer to the cult, he would believe the lies and, you know, just like my father went going along with my mother's lies about me and hurting me. That's basically how I felt with Bleep. He went along with the lies and then, who cares? Tossed her out. That's exactly how I felt with my father. So when that started happening, the lies, just like I had explained to Bleep, was that it was lies that destroyed my life, which is true. People, that I even trusted in, or had respect for, I should say, in real life, believed the lies that were said about me. My parents had gotten idiots, I would call them. Of course, just like them, I call them idiots. Just like I realized that it's Bleep's choice as to being a part of that and believing those lies about me. Let's talk about lies and, misunderstandings and whatnot. He did teach me to argue. When he wasn't with that clan and he wasn't, influenced in that way, he actually was very considerate of my feelings. And when we argued, he was very calm. He was, logical and rational and respectful. But just like my father, once he got more underneath that, he started acting just like her and treating me very disrespectfully. Kind of like Bleep did when he, you know, became very disrespectful to me, started ghosting me and stuff like that. It brought me back to how my dad was and what he turned into. So, and again, it was based upon me having trust for somebody for the first time, you know, and then that ending up happening, just like my father turning on me and becoming more and more like my mother, the ringleader. And that's exactly how I feel about Bleep. So the funny thing is that, he got mad at me after he blocked me. I was already, okay, fine, I was really upset because he believed the lies. I don't even know what lies he believed because there were so many of them. But anyways, what happened is that I had posted or put up on a YouTube presentation, and it had his name in it. But if he had come to me, I would have been happy to remove it. But I was already pissed at him about blocking me, and then also just making that assumption and just saying he's going to sue me, even though it wasn't illegal. But anyways, the funny thing is that I did it on my computer, and my eyesight isn't that good. I actually did have his name covered, and what I did is I put it into my message box because I always upload things on to my YouTube from my phone, and do the screenshots, the slides on my phone. And I didn't realize that when I grouped it on the computer, it didn't stay on there. I didn't group the part where his name was covered. So when I uploaded it, I didn't realize that his name wasn't covered anymore. So when I heard he was mad about it, I was like, what is he talking about? I didn't realize that his name wasn't covered. I even looked again and I still didn't see it. That's how bad my eyesight is. But anyways, I mean, that's not the point, but again, communication. And after he got with that clan, even he told me one time we had an argument, if you have an issue with me, come to me. Don't go with other people and blah, blah, blah. Just like he had expressed to that person that was bullying me, why don't you talk to her? If she's your friend, then you should go to her. That's right. So when he heard those lies, he should have came to me. Do as I say, not as I do, right? But he should have followed his own advice with that. So yes, the support that he did was basically like my father. Also feeling, safe with him, as in expressing myself. Yeah, it was very shocking to me because I never thought that was possible to be done with a male, but it happened. It's weird. That's where I felt that, trust in whatever, that's how I felt. But I learned a lot from him, like, with relationships and trust and stuff like that. I did see myself in him, and I think he's seen somewhat in me based upon thinking I'm too trusting, when in actuality I really am not that trusting. It just appeared that way, and it seemed that way. And even if I looked at myself, then yeah, but I just had low expectations. I always expected to get hurt, and that's just how I felt, that it would always happen, because I didn't have much expectations for anybody. But like Bleep had taught me, is I do deserve better, and my expectations should be higher as to what I should at least expect from people, as for respect, and like one story which was kind of, somebody might think, what the heck, what's the big deal? It was based upon when Bleep's friend owed him $5 because he needed, gas money, and he didn't pay him back. Many people say $5, big deal. But you know what? It was the point of it that he made a promise, his friend made a promise to him, and he didn't keep it. So it's not even about the money. I understand that, because it was about making that promise that ended up not keeping, which is hurtful. So it could have been about anything that didn't even involve money. It was about that promise that that friend made, you know? So I understand that, and he's right. If you make a promise to somebody, you should keep it. And to me, his promise to me was that, if he had a problem with me, he'd come to me and that we could work it out and talk about it, because I did feel comfortable talking to him in the way he talked to me. But like I said, things got really bad after those incidents, just like my father got bad after being underneath the ringleader, my mother. The last thing my dad did for me that, where he actually defended me and didn't go with my mother, the ringleader, as for the abuse, was something that even my friends from elementary school remember. And it was, he didn't want me to learn, or she did, I'm not, yeah, he didn't want my mom not to let me learn how to drive a car. Because she didn't want me to learn, because she wanted to keep me under her wrath. And he stepped up, he said, no, she's learning how to drive, period. And my friends remember that. That's before he became very much more like my mother, as in the abuse and how he treated me. So that's why it was hurtful with Bleep, is because he ended up becoming like that, even really disrespectful. And look how bad he got this last time. I mean, he actually went down the deep end. It's almost like my father, getting me put away based on some, blah, blah, bless, BS that they did, that wasn't right, that ended up hurting me. It's the same thing, things that my father did to me that, were based on lies and, ended up harming me, intentionally, was basically what I felt like. I had, trusted my father and thought that he cared about me and respected me. That's how I felt with Bleep. I thought he actually respected me enough not to do something ever like what he did, which was the way he talked about me in such a degrading way, and it was extremely hurtful. I mean, because I never expected that, because he was the first person that I actually felt safe that wouldn't judge me like that or whatnot. It still kills me to even think about it. So anyways, as you see, that bullying clan, even in real life, it's basically the same types of harm that can happen to somebody, even though it wasn't, in real life it was, but it did affect me in my real life. And now you see how the bleep plays a part in that. Just like my father, I'll always remember the times that he was good to me and the things and how it's sentimental to me. But I realize what he is now. And, it's very hard that he's not that anymore, and that he himself needs to realize that and come to actually admitting that, you know. And same with Bleep, I'll always remember that. I'll say it again, friendly dork, and what he did do for me, because that really was special and it meant a lot to me, because he's the first person that did that. And he's the first person that I felt comfortable with, not because it was more than I thought that would be friendship that I expected. It was just, I don't know, it was instinct, based on how he talked to me and how we spoke together when he wasn't under the, influence and wrath of the clan, you know. So, all those things added up. And, of course, it did end up hurting me in the end. So it had nothing to do with me, like everybody thinking, they're probably thinking it was just recent, based on what they're seeing now. But again, I had felt that connection as to trust and feeling safe with that person when I talked to them in like 2019. That's from years ago, So it has, everybody's basing it on now when the story's being written, when, like I said, I didn't even know what he looked like, and, the bleep parts was not even in my mind, and everything just kept on piling up, even in real life, just hearing, reading my story and automatically thinking, oh, she wants to, bang him, or whatever the word he said, pile. I mean, all these slang terms I have no, it's funny, it's almost like, I seen the word FAP, I'm like, what the heck is that? I don't even know what piling is. I know what that it's referring to, but I mean, for that, what do you have some, like 10,000 rubber, balls down there or something? Who knows? It's like, I remember it was, FAP. I was like, what the heck? And, of course, Bleep explained it to me. This was when a long time ago, years, he showed me the definition. I'm thinking, what the heck? I was like, that's not the sound I hear. I hear a I have no idea. It sounds like throw up or something. I have no freaking clue. But anyways, that's just a laugh. That's my little funny sense of humor. But anyways, you know, so all these, ideas about what my story is and everything else, the story part itself has nothing to do with me thinking that, he wants, like whatever Two-Face said, he wants to, that I think that he wants to do the leap, or I can't say the word. Like, I know that Dr. Dyer's laughing at me right now. So, anyways, as you can see, I'm very creative and very imaginative. And like I said, my story is based upon my own personal experience with stories itself about DV, and making it something that others that are in my situation want to see and read and be able to understand it, and not with the trauma have it affect them in bad ways, as to where they can relate to it and really grasp from it and learn from it. Just like my teacher was a great teacher as for being creative in his style, Dr. Dyer. That's how I feel about my writing. My writing is mythical but realistic. I try to make it interesting, but something you can learn from. Just like, as you see, I'm very different in my ways of expressing myself. I'm very different in my personality, but hey, that's me, So, as Bleep had taught me, is that I do deserve better, and that he inspired me, being who he is, as I seen as being courageous and not caring what others think, and not letting anybody stop him from his passions in life, to be who he wants to be. See, that's who I had seen and desired to be myself. And that's what I'm working on. And I'm actually doing that. And it actually feels really good. So that's something that he also taught me. And there's many things he taught me just by watching and going through all this that I myself, didn't, see before until him. So basically he was kind of like, the father that I never had. Because I actually went to him before and said, if you were my father, which would you have done? Everybody needs a teacher in their life. It's like they say that a boy learns from the mother how to treat a lady. But I don't even go by gender. I didn't have that in my real life with my caregivers to teach me, how people should treat me and whatnot. So even like with relationships, I always made bad choices. And like the part where Bleep said that, he's too much of an asshole, for me, I relate to that, based on how I was raised and conditioned to believe that I'm no good, blah, 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 I'm dumb. Even when I did have, chances to be in relationships that were long term, I didn't feel like I was good enough to be in them. Like I said, our story wouldn't be the same, but I understood in that sense, I just didn't feel like I was good enough. He said he was too much of an asshole, but you know what? I won't go there again, but, after what he said to me about me in that hate group, I would definitely look at that person like, yeah, that's not someone I'd want to be close to, in that way. That was pretty despicable. But anyways, as you can see, that this story does match up with my story with my abusers in my real life, and how Bleep actually does play a large part of that, and why, as to why it was sentimental to me and why it had affected me and hurt me so much in the end, as to what had happened in the end. Because there was a lot of good things that did happen that many people don't know. And just like any relationship, people are so nosy and make all these opinions and, judgments And in this case, it was the cult clan trying to pile up crap again and do some, damage against me. And it worked. But at least it showed me who Bleep is, especially now, you know. Even though he was, what I'd say, the friendly dork before, where he was totally different. But like I said, I noticed once he started getting with that clan, just like my father got closer and closer to being like my mother, in time, that's exactly how I seen Bleep and what happened to him. Like I said, he used to treat me really great and was very respectful. And then, that's exactly how I felt with my father. Because in time, he went right underneath and started being abusive and disrespectful and nasty to me and treated me badly just like my mother. And that's how it slowly happened with Bleep. The ghosting, and then this last incident got even worse where it went, where he went to the sewage and did the worst thing that anybody's has ever said to me. So yeah, it was very hurtful based on what I had just explained. And remember, I felt this connection and safety and liked who he was as a person, as in safety and being able to talk to and open up to since years ago. It's not something based on what these, doofuses are talking about based on my story as to feelings based upon my story or thinking whatever. That's complete ignorance and idiocy, and was nothing but trying to compile crap up just to make an attack for fun. Kind of like my ringleader mother in real life, making her plots of abuse against me and getting my father involved to go along with those lies. He just got used to it, and that became a regular for him, Same with Bleep. He started to become more and more disrespectful to the point that it just went in that last incident of him saying what he did in that group. So, yes, I'm very different as in my writing and as a person. But you know what? Like Bleep said, hey, the way I see it is the way he sees it is that be yourself. Who cares what other people think? Do what you're passionate about. Be proud of who you are. Who cares what others think? Be what you want to be in life and be courageous enough to do it and not worry about what others think or, say. Still be yourself. I mean, like I said, I have to say against what he said there is when somebody that you trusted and respected ends up doing something hurtful to you, especially since you trusted and respected them, it does hurt and it does affect the person negatively, because we're human, we have feelings, and I don't buy his emotionless, mask that he wears. But he's right. I do deserve better. And I do deserve better than someone who would be in a hate group saying really despicable, cruel things about me. So be proud of who you are. Be different. Who cares if you're different? As you see, my writing style is very different. But hey, it's enjoyable to me, and that's what matters. So be different in everything that you do. Because abnormal, like I said, is just a person's opinion. That's right. It's based off of an opinion, a personal opinion. So don't be afraid to be you. Be courageous. And don't let others stop you from being who you want to be. And be proud of who you are. I'm Shelley Rothus. I'm a different kind of victim. I'll see you next time.